Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Muller here. Let's take a look. We got so much to talk about in this segment of Weather Eastern. What is this for your Wednesday into your Thursday? Look at this big squall line developing and another one on Thursday. We'll break that all down for you, see which areas could see the most severe weather. And the heat is boiling North America, Europe, and Asia for that matter. Just boiling conditions. How much longer will this last? And will this feed into above average hurricane season heading into August? And just what happened to Estelle here now, weakened to a tropical depression. Does it have a chance to come back as a hurricane? Or will this system continue to weaken? I'll break down all the tropics in the Pacific and the Atlantic for you in this edition of Weather Eastern. Let's get into it. Tropical storm Estelle. Definitely not going to become the hurricane that it was supposed to. Dry air is wrapping in here from the southwest. Wind shear is taking over, shearing apart the central core of the system. Is still a rather large circulation, but by this point Thursday, still a tropical storm weakening and a tropical depression here by the weekend. Next area of concern is over here, day 2 through day 5 into the weekend into early next week. 30% chance here, and then look at this. The monsoon combined with the tropical moisture here from these tropical systems is producing tremendous amounts of rain from Acapulco up to Puerto Vallarta. All right, so for the rest of the Atlantic, we don't have too much to talk about. We have this feature off the Cape Verde Islands. It is a rather large circulation, but there's not much convection with it, and I think at this point it doesn't have much chance of surviving the trek across the Atlantic. You notice one common theme across the Atlantic right now. It is clear as a bell. What's going on here? All right, so let's see what's going on with the Estelle here. HWRF model. Take a look at this. And as we head throughout time, you see this thing pretty much maintains tropical storm, and it continues to weaken as it heads over cooler water. It's battling wind shear and dry air at mid-levels. You see, this is by Thursday at 2 p.m. It is almost sheared apart to nothing. Tropical depression by this point, and as you can see, it is basically just heading out. It is no threat to even Hawaii out here. All right, so let's take a look at the tropics here. Let's zoom in on the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific. We'll do them both at the same time here. Take a look at this. So we got what's left. You know, Estelle is basically floundering out here into the Eastern Pacific. You can see it. And as we head throughout the rest of Wednesday, you can see how it just pretty much starts to fizzle. It becomes a low-level circulation, being sheared apart, dry air ingested into the center. Now, our next area of potential business here, as the Eastern Pacific has definitely been open for business, it's definitely here south of Mexico and Guatemala and El Salvador. So we'll watch this. Intertropical convergence zone in the Atlantic, yeah, it is pretty robust, but definitely not much to talk about. Look at this. The Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, as I showed you on the satellite picture, they are clear as a bell. So let's continue in time here. Look at this. So the Eastern Pacific, we start to see a couple areas start to emerge. First, there's off the Cape Verde Islands here. This is Sunday, July 24th. Then we got this next area of development that could potentially become our next named storm. You see how close it is to the Mexican and Guatemala coastline here? See that? And then we got this Eastern Pacific modeling behind it towards Panama that's showing some more tropical waves developing here. So as we continue in time here, let's continue into the last week of July where things really start to get cranking here, especially in the Eastern Pacific. There's the first area just south of Acapulco here, and another area behind it we'll be watching. This could become, on the modeling here, I'll show you momentarily, a hurricane. Tropical wave here right around Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. Probably at this point nothing more than a big rainmaker. Bring some beneficial rains to your area. But look at this out here. We got a couple tropical waves we'll be watching by next Tuesday, July 26th. Two we'll be seeing if they can hold together. However, there is a lot of vertical wind shear here in the upper levels that we'll be watching that could potentially put a damper on any strengthening. That's pretty typical for this time of year. But as we continue, take a look at this. This is by Wednesday, July 27th. This is an area. There's another wave coming off the Cape Verde Islands of Africa here. Now, as you can see here, two things start to happen here in the Eastern Pacific. We have wave number one that could be a weak system. It's kind of bringing it more towards the southwest. Weaker systems tend to do that. But look at this. This is a pretty robust system. This is the start of that potential hurricane that I showed you, that I was telling you about on the previous couple slides here. There was more in this general region. So take a look at this as we head throughout time here. Thursday, Friday, the 29th of July. Look at how close this is to the coast. This is just southeast of Acapulco. This could be causing problems if it's this close to the coastline. Tropical wave out here. It looks like it's trying to barely survive. And then this Cape Verde Island storm here just south of the Cape Verdes. It's got a lot going for it, but we'll see if it can actually make it. And we do have some thunderstorms pummeling here into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, but doesn't look like anything promising at this point. So let's continue to put this into motion. We'll continue through Friday into Saturday, July 30th. So look at that. This is quite, look at this. There's another wave here developing here across Central America and the southern part of the Caribbean. This big old area, which could be a hurricane by this point. You can see these tropical waves. They're trying their best to hold together, but they're not having too much success out here into the open Atlantic. And as we continue through the rest of July into the beginning of August, if this verifies, this could be a pretty intense hurricane here off the Mexican coastline here. There's a tropical wave, more storms forming here in the southern Gulf of Mexico now, and another wave coming off the coast of Africa by this point. So let's actually just continue through the rest of the first week of August here. So look at this. Let's zoom in on this. So yeah, if this does verify, if this far out, if this were to become this wave that comes off of Central America becomes a hurricane, at this point, don't focus on the point, because this far out, it's hard to tell where these systems will be. But definitely want to keep an eye on it if you're in western Mexico along the resort towns. And here into the Atlantic, you know, at this point, things still look pretty quiet. I think things really start to change come the second and third week of August. All right, so what is this? This is Wednesday evening, obviously. But how did we get to this point? So let's actually take a look here. We're going to go back in time here. So let's go back to early Wednesday morning. So look at most of what you're dealing with up here is across, southeastern Canada. So if we continue to put this into motion, most of the country is looking, starting off pretty good during the really early morning hours, just slightly before sunrise here. And as the sun rises, things aren't too bad. We're chugging up towards 3 p.m. here across the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. So things are looking pretty nice. So let's just continue to put this into motion. And then look at that. This is where things start to get a little bit interesting here. So let's just back this up. Here we go. So we're going to start with here. So look what's going on here. We got a big old mesoscale system here into Ontario. And look what starts to form here across north central Ohio. We got some of these big thunderstorm cells, and we are going to have the severe weather potential Wednesday evening in particular here. Let's zoom in on this. Take a look at this. So, as we continue to put this into motion, let's take a look frame by frame here. Look at this. Cleveland area, definitely going to be getting on in the act here. This is 7 p.m. So, yeah, things are going to start to get a little frisky here around the Cleveland area, Mansfield. It is just north of Columbus there. So, yeah, we're going to be looking at some interesting weather here. So, as we continue to move it into 8 p.m. here, we're knocking on the door to places like Erie, Pennsylvania, Youngstown, Ohio. And look at just west of Buffalo, New York here. Just really smattering those showers and thunderstorms here across the area. So, yeah, looking pretty nasty here. So let's continue to put this into motion, shall we? And look at this. This becomes a nocturnal line. And you know what? I think at this point you can pretty much see that a lot of these thunderstorms will remain, look at this, pretty severe embedded within this line here. So we're going to be dealing with damaging wind, large hail, overnight from eastern Ohio, northwestern Pennsylvania, maybe into parts of western New York here. So let's continue to put this into motion. Take a look at this. So this continues to push eastward, and it does start to run into essentially a brick wall here. So, this brick wall has been pretty prevalent. We did get some rain, much needed rainfall across the Northeast, but this area circled in blue definitely needs more rain than we've been seeing here. So you can see as the dry gets drier, so does, these thunderstorms. And, they're by this point, they're running out of instability. We got another complex down into parts of the Virginias here in Tennessee. Let's go down. Yep. So take a look at this. This is pretty interesting. We're starting Thursday morning here. And as we go in time here, what areas are going to see severe weather? So it's kind of going to skip the Binghamton, Syracuse, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area, Harrisburg, and watch what begins to start up here. This is 8 a.m. Thursday morning. So then we start to get some development here. And this is right around, 12 p.m. noon. So you're starting to get some stronger cells developing up here in northern upstate New York, northern Vermont, parts of Quebec. These up here in Ontario, they look more cold pooled. And look at that up towards Quebec City. That's some pretty big thunderstorms up there. So let's put this further into motion. The last couple frames, you can see. Let's go back to the last frame here. You can see here, look at this. This is a pretty big amount of action here. And we might have some isolated storms out here on Long Island, Connecticut, towards New York City as well. So, we're going to be watching particularly New England for your Thursday here. All right, so let's take a look at the Cape here. We're going to start off with 11 a.m. on Wednesday morning. So look at this. You're pushing in excess of 2,700 joules per kilogram right around just south of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And you're getting way up over 2,000 in parts of western Ohio here. So you watch this. This is the food for thunderstorms. Food and energy does a thunderstorm good, as I always say. Look at this. So let's actually put this into motion. As we continue through the rest of your Wednesday, look what starts to happen here across northwestern Ohio. You're getting excess of 3,500, 3,600 joules per kilogram. Now it trails off pretty quickly here to the east, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., but look how much energy. 3,600, 3,800. This is crazy amount of energy here in northwestern Ohio, and as we continue throughout the afternoon, that is what's going to feed this. Now, it does start to weaken a little bit, but honestly, is 2,100 joules per kilogram weak in Cleveland. Columbus, 3,700. We're going to have some big-time thunderstorms here across parts of Ohio, and I think that will lead into 1 a.m., midnight 1 a.m. across northwestern Pennsylvania. This is enough, 1,300, 1,400 joules per kilogram to keep those thunderstorms nocturnally going here, western New York, parts of West Virginia here, eastern Ohio. So this is definitely enough. Now, as we go into the overnight, obviously back here towards Binghamton, it's just going to be a hole of action. We're not going to see much going on here overnight. We might see some residual showers and thunder showers, but watch what happens during the day on Thursday. Look at this. Boston, 2,000. Islip, 1,800. Hartford, 2,100. This is some crazy thunderstorm action here. And you know what? We get this all the way up into northern Maine, 1,700, 2,300 over there on the Canadian border, Canadian side, Quebec. So yeah, we're going to be dealing with some strong thunderstorms across the Northeast here. All right, so what about tornadoes? Is there going to be much of a threat here? Well, we're going to look at the significant tornado parameter here. So this is starting off with 10 a.m. Wednesday morning. You're towards 0.6. That's about the highest value you can find just southwest of Fort Wayne, Indiana here. So, let's put this into motion as we head throughout. Look at this. Toledo, 0.4, 0.6, 0.7. So, we're not approaching 1, so I'm not overly impressed, but some of these storms could potentially rotate. This is not much of a factor, I'm thinking, until, look at this, we start to get towards 6 p.m. on Wednesday. This is typically the time of day you start to get those rotating thunderstorms. Look at that up there in just over the border in southern Ontario. Those, when you start to get 3.0, that's some insane tornado action there. But look we're even getting values of 1.7, 1.5 here in north central Ohio. So definitely going to want to watch out for some of these. And look at this, 2.0, 2.2. So between Youngstown, Canton, and Columbus, yeah, we're going to watch out for that. Look at down there in eastern Kentucky as well. And as we continue on in time here, of course, tornado threats still exist towards Erie County there. just east of Youngstown and over the border in Pennsylvania. It's not going to be a widespread outbreak, but some of these storms could actually rotate. And let's head into your Thursday here across New England. Let's see if there's any chance of rotating thunderstorms. Now, you get about a 6, anywhere from 0.2 to 0.6 on average. Look at that up there in northern Maine. That's probably your actually best chance of tornadoes. That's crazy to even consider that. But yeah, it's going to be mainly damaging wind, large hail threat across New England states here. All right, and John sending in his photo here from boiling, horribly on fire UK, Huddersfield, M62 Huddersfield, UK, 112 degrees. Just nasty. Yes, definitely want to just stay in the car and cruise along because don't even put those windows down. Nice capture there, John. All right, so the heat wave here, it is all building here from the southern plains. We got another day on Wednesday, 105 near Oklahoma City, 103 near Dallas, but this is a little bit cooler, if you can call it cooler, than it has been. It's away from the 110, 115 degree temperatures. But look at here in the Northeast, up here in the 90s in Binghamton, New York City, 95 there in Boston, 93 in Washington, D.C. So watch as we go in time here. Watch how this kind of we start to build the heat eastward here. So yeah, essentially we're seeing, Susquehanna River Valley here into the upper 80s, lower 90s. And look at this across New Jersey, mid 90s, and up to Boston, 92, 93 degrees, Washington, D.C. So yeah, definitely seeing a little bit of cooling behind this, but watch as we continue to go in time here. Watch this for your Friday. So yeah, Friday, we're building, some 90s here into the Northeast, continuing the big cities of the Northeast. Those heat advisories will continue going. Now, look what's happening over here in the Central Plains, 106, 107 degrees. So we're continuing to build this heat. Now, watch as we go into Saturday. So you're starting to see a common theme here. See this big old piece of heat? It's starting to push and exert its influence further to the east here. And as you can see that as we continue to go in time here. Take a look at here into the Northeast, 91, 92 degrees in Binghamton, 98 there in New York City, just west of New York City, 96 near Boston, 98 in Washington, D.C. and Richmond. You're over 100. So yeah, it's just going to continue to build here, 107, 108 degrees. Now, this might be overdone by a couple degrees, but even then, if you subtract 2 or 5 degrees, you're still well above 100 degrees here. And you're stuck with the 90s here across the Ohio Valley here as well. Look at that. So, as we continue in time here, I want to show you the trend as we go into look at this Sunday. So yeah, you got a big baroclinic zone up here in the Northeast, 70s in northern upstate New York. Look at that. So we go down to the 90s in the Susquehanna River Valley, the big cities of the Northeast. And this is going to continue to build. So I think we're going to have some explosive thunderstorm development next week. See how you get these 70s to the north and quickly get into the 90s here. Now watch this. So we build into next week, next Tuesday. So you're stuck with, you get a little bit of a reprieve here in the Northeast, but look what's coming over here. As we put this into time, take a look at this. A little bit of a cool shot with some showers and thunderstorms in the Northeast, but look at this, 80s, and look at the 90s building just west here, and over 103 there, still in Oklahoma City. This is going to be a very long-lasting heat wave, but look at this for your Thursday. Look what starts to happen. We start to see a warm front pushing in from the Ohio Valley. Look at this, 94 degrees, Williamsport, Pennsylvania, Du Bois, Pennsylvania, 90. Look at this, Columbus, Ohio, 92, New York City, 96, Boston, 88, Washington, D.C., 99. This is going to continue to build, and look at it build here across the Southeast, too. These are hundreds from Georgia up through the Carolinas and into eastern Pennsylvania. And look at this. By Friday, we get a little bit of a cool shot here. Extended outlook for my hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's Upper Susquehanna River Valley. Look at this, Wednesday through Sunday. Hot as a firecracker. Look at that Wednesday. Just boiling. Heat index values near 100. Just going to be totally horrible as far as heat is concerned. Look at that Thursday. Maybe a rumble of thunder. Chance of showers and thunderstorms. It's not going to be that major around Binghamton to Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, though. Heading up towards 90 again, and then look at that. Friday again, we break the record, or like a broken record. I don't know if we'll quite break the record, but 91's pretty high. Look at that chance of a shower or thunderstorm again, particularly in the afternoon. but most areas will stay dry into Saturday, sunny, 91, hot as a firecracker again. And look at that, Sunday, a better chance of showers and thunderstorms, up towards 88 degrees. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of Weather Eastern. Links in the description down below to my past hurricane videos, my whole 2022 outlook. Also, question or comment down below, smash the like button, share, subscribe, everything that's needed to keep this video and this channel going. Thanks for helping it grow. Go over to my Facebook pages, MediaMark, MediaMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com.